Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Stand up for your country. Sorry if I look tired, because I am tired. Yeah, it has been quite the news cycle. So I drove back to Nassau County on Long Island from far east Suffolk County last night at 1 in the morning. I had the terror dog in the back seat. She was not pleased. Because I'm doing Jon Stewart in the dreaded Big Apple, Gotham. We're taping that early this evening, and you can see it, I guess, at 11 on Comedy Central. And it's worth us doing this because it reaches so many different people that might not be tuned in to the best news presentation in the country, and that would be us. But anyway, I'm a little weary. If I make some verbal mistakes, let's chalk it up to the Joe Biden syndrome. We vote in 3.5 months. Isn't that interesting? 3.5 months. We'll be at the, and that's just going to whiz by. Summer always does. And another big thing will happen. I know a lot of you have written me about my predictions that big things were going to happen. They have, the debate meltdown and the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Something else will as well. I feel it in my guts. No idea what. But it's not going to be a smooth sail between now and Election Day. Deceit is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Here is the definition of deceit: the act of causing someone to accept as true or valid what is false or invalid. And Americans are getting deceived in two areas right now: politics and the media. It's always been that way in politics, always. Since John Adams versus Thomas Jefferson. Washington didn't have to worry about it because he was president, nobody ran against him for 2 terms. But then Adams was against Jefferson, and the mud flew and deceit was everywhere. And then since that time, we have had that in every campaign. So that's not surprising. The media deceit, been there somewhat, but not to the extent where most media is deceitful. And that's where we are today. So the American citizen, a hardworking person, going to try to make a good living for his family, stretched out to the limit, is trying to pick up what really is happening. And it is 1,000 times harder now with the internet than it was 25 years ago. Because the deceivers are not held to account. You can lie your butt off every single day and they'll still pay you a check. And we will get into that. Now, last night, there was a presidential interview, Biden and NBC's Lester Holt. Okay. There was some deception. Roll the tape.
Have you taken a step back and done a little soul searching on things that you may have said that could incite people who are not balanced?
Well, I don't think, look, how do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when a president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody? Look, I've not engaged in that rhetoric.
Oh, I have not engaged in that rhetoric. Roll the tape.
And then I pointed out that the only convicted criminal on the stage last night was Donald Trump. When I thought about his 34 felony convictions, his sexual assault on a woman in a public place, his being fined $400 million for business fraud, I thought to myself, Donald Trump isn't just a convicted felon. Donald Trump is a one-man crime wave. Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to our democracy. He's literally a threat for everything America stands for.
So, yeah, the president does not indulge in inciting when he speaks. Now, Joe Biden believes he doesn't do that kind of rhetoric. because Joe Biden does not literally know what he is saying or doing. And the second thing is he doesn't care. Remember, Joe Biden said for 3 years that the southern border was secure. Did he care that it wasn't secure? Not one whit. And then when the political opposition got so intense, then all of a sudden he cared and he came up with legislation. Well, what happened to the border is secure? I've told you this before. When researching confronting the presidents, and we run down all 45, how they helped or hurt the nation, I have never seen in any of them a more apathetic president than Joe Biden. It might have something to do with his mental decline, but he simply does not care. So he'll sit there and tell Lester Holt, oh, I don't engage in that kind of rhetoric, when it's just a lie. But it's a provable lie. Now, Holt doesn't follow up, okay? And in a number of things, Holt asked the right questions, but then when Biden misdirected the answers, Holt didn't come back at him. Mike Wallace, who was the best interviewer of all time on television, I just can't imagine him watching when it's gone on here in this country for the last 15 years. And Lester Holt, I work with him. He's an honest man. Maybe he's just not up to it. I don't know. But if I'm sitting there where Lester was last night, do you think I let that go? Threat to democracy? I'm an American, all right? I run corporations. I have property. I have children. I'm not feeling the threat to democracy here. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I just dense. I'm not feeling that. I didn't feel it in 4 years. I don't agree with everything Donald Trump does. And particularly, I don't agree with everything he says or the way he says it. You know that. Did I feel that my freedom was in jeopardy because Trump was president? No. I feel that my freedom's in jeopardy when the Justice Department arrests and prosecutes any American for political purposes. That's what I feel. Okay. So you're being deceived by the President of the United States. And you can make an argument that Donald Trump has deceived you at times as well. You can make that argument. But it's not nearly at the level of Biden. Not nearly at the level. So when he gets out there and he says on NBC News last night in prime time, I don't do inciting. I don't do that kind of rhetoric. And I just played you. I could have played you 30 clips instead of 2. And that's the memo. So Donald Trump's at the convention walk. You all know that. A very emotional night for him. He was crying just about. And the reason he was, and I know this because of my research of killing Reagan, where Reagan came within an inch and a half of being killed, Trump came within a quarter of an inch of being killed. When that happens to you, and there have been a number of times where my life was, you get emotional, okay? And particularly when you're thinking about it. In the moment, the adrenaline flows and you react, hopefully you react in a positive way. But afterward, you're almost dead. That's what Trump is feeling this week. Now, I don't know how that is going to affect his speech on Thursday night. He has a chance if he's humble and says, well, I overreach sometimes in my rhetoric. I'm going to try not to do that again. He wins. Because Biden will never do that. Neither man is on the record of ever admitting a mistake. We can't find either man on the record admitting an error. But if Trump were to say, and he doesn't have to dwell on it, you can just say, look, I learned a lot. And we got to tamp down his hate. And I'm going to try to be more measured and precise in my comments. He wins. J.D. Vance. Don't know him. He is at the far right of the VP spectrum, the most conservative man that was being considered. He got quite the resume, I'll tell you. Marine Corps, He was over in Iraq, Ohio State U, Yale Law School, huge bestseller, Hillbilly Elegy. Married, 3 children, young children, converted to Catholicism. He's been busy, J.D. Vance. So was I surprised when he was selected by Donald Trump? No, I wasn't. Because Trump looks at things a little bit differently than I do. Certainly, I would have chosen a vice president that might have helped me achieve votes. All right, so Nikki Haley would have done that. And Trump doesn't trust her, and I understand the dynamic there. Marco Rubio would have done that with Hispanic voters. And I like Rubio's foreign policy expertise as well. He probably would have been my choice if Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas, didn't want it. She would have been my first choice. So I don't believe that Senator Vance is going to bring any votes into the Trump precinct. I could be wrong. They're going to dispatch Vance to Michigan and to Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, try to gin up the working class vote, and he's good at that. The problem with Vance is that he's an isolationist and doesn't really have a sophisticated view of foreign policy. Let me back that up, okay? Because that's what we always do here. Roll the tape.
Vladimir Putin is not Adolf Hitler. Doesn't mean he's a good guy, but he has significantly less capability than the German leader did in the late 1930s. America is not America of the late 1930s or the early 1940s.
So as you may know, Senator Vance has been opposed to aid to Ukraine, and doesn't want to get involved there. So when he says that Putin does not has less capability than Hitler, that's wrong. Of course that's wrong. Because Putin has the atomic bomb. He has atomic weapons. Okay? He can obliterate the earth. I mean, Hitler wanted to, but he didn't have them. So that's number one. Number two, I'd like to debate Senator Vance on his vision for Ukraine. You just let it go? You let Putin march in, take it? Is that what you want to do? Because that's what would happen if the U.S. and NATO didn't supply the weaponry and money to fend off Putin. And the third point is that Putin is very much weaker than he was when he started this insane war 2 years ago. I mean, we're talking 250,000 casualties, Russian casualties in this war. You think those people in Russia are happy about that? They're not. Economy's taking a hit. Worldwide pariah. Rich oligarchs can't go anywhere, can't leave Russia. They won't accept them. So, you know, Vance is entitled to his opinion. He wants to be an isolationist. Okay. But I'd like to see a really robust debate on that. I don't know where Trump is on Ukraine because Trump has avoided the issue almost entirely. I do know Putin wants Trump to win because after Trump was shot, Putin blamed it on Biden. Did you pick that up? Russian press blamed it on Biden. That was the signal. Putin wants Trump to win. But Trump contained Putin. So that may not be a bad thing. I don't know. All right. Biden is at the NAACP convention in Las Vegas. Who holds a convention in Las Vegas at mid-July? It was 152 degrees out there. I don't know what. And it's no accident that the NAACP has its convention the same week that the Republicans have theirs. That is not an accident. As we predicted, RFK Jr. is going to get Secret Service protection. This was a nasty little bitchy thing that Biden did, denying him Secret Service protection. That was really because Biden doesn't like him because he's a third party and taking votes from Biden. That was really low. But now RFK Jr. is going to get the Secret Service. In fact, he's got it right now. It kicked in yesterday. So we predicted that would happen, but should have never been denied. And everybody knows that. Is there one reason on earth you don't protect that man when his father and uncle were assassinated? Come on. And this is what I mean about Biden. Sorting through your expenses, estimated payments, and all those tax deductions can be overwhelming. Might even lead to a failure to file. and failure to pay penalties that pile up on your tax debt. The attorneys at Tax Network USA have been lifesavers for many Americans. Their team has successfully saved clients more than $1 billion in tax debt. $1 billion. Whether you're in the hole for $10,000 or $10 million, they are ready to help. The expert attorneys and tax professionals at Tax Network USA are equipped to secure the best settlement for you and help you resolve all tax cases. So please go to taxnetworkusa.com/bill, or you can call 1-800-245-6000. These debt relief programs are expected to change, so get started now. Please go to taxnetworkusa.com/bill, or you can call 1-800-245-6000. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Let's go to the mail. We got Tim McSherry, Manhattan Beach, California. President Biden is responsible for the Trump shooting. The past 4 years of rhetoric from Biden contributed to this event with the impressionable, sick young man. All right, if you're going to say that, Tim, then you have to say if the reversal happened and Biden was shot, that some of Trump's rhetoric led to that. Are you willing to do that? Okay. Bart. Bill, I agree that Biden was not literally responsible for the attempted assassination of Trump, but Biden is one of the leaders of your so-called hate brigade. Okay, I'm not going to dispute that. Because nobody has done more aggressive reporting on President Biden than me. Robert, Trump didn't go overboard. He took the gloves off due to Biden's Justice Department. However, he never demonized Biden. Robert. Look, I can come up with 10 minutes solid of Donald Trump demonizing Joe Biden. I'm not going to do it because everybody knows that he has done that. You believe in what you want to believe, but you got to get in the real world here. Brian Lindner, Rio, Wisconsin. While I get your point about over-the-top rhetoric coming from both sides, I feel you were comparing apples to oranges. The left's outrageous comments are coming from mainstream networks and cable shows. You had to dig down and get right-wing podcasters who I admit have reach to find anyone pushing the envelope. So what? Hate is hate. Yeah, you're right. The corporate media, and they're the ones I'm going after hardest. But hate is hate. Logan Miller, New York City. Hey, Bill, wanted to ask you a serious question. Morning Joe being pulled off the air. If they can't be trusted to give the news when the news is actually needed, then why are they allowed to have a show at all? Because they make money. And the ratings for Morning Joe aren't great. Maybe he does between 800,000 and 1 million in the morning. Okay? Our special over the weekend did 4 million at least, to give you a basis of comparison. Jeffrey Kaplan, Weston, Florida. Trump always says you have to win elections. J.D. Vance will not get him one additional vote. Youngkin would have given him Virginia. Rubio would have picked up Hispanic votes. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. But I think that Vance, if he has a successful debate against Kamala Harris, we'll see. That's his primary job right now. David Heweiler, Carlsbad, California, north of San Diego. The real question is not how the Secret Service failed to secure a rooftop. The question is how the shooter could have known this particular lapse would occur on the rooftop and he would have a shot. Well, it was a crime of opportunity. So the guy went there and he was looking for some place to perch. Don't get involved with this conspiracy stuff. This is really, you don't want to do that. Don't live there. Paul Beesdack, Centennial, Colorado. The questions you proposed for Biden's press conference were brilliant. Thank you. I appreciate that. They were short to the point. They hit on all the issues. No matter how Biden answered, he couldn't deflect it. That's true. And that's how you have to go into an interview. You don't give the subject wiggle room. But the art of interviewing is pretty much done. Obsolete. Alice, J.D. Vance is the nominee for VP. And I don't know much about it, except that he's a Navy SEAL and a family man. Not a Navy SEAL, Alice. And I understand. He's a Marine. He worked in the communications department of the Marines in Iraq. Not a SEAL. All right, we want you to go to BillO'Reilly.com store and pick up our historical mugs that you will enjoy now, and they will go up in value, I predict. Stand Up for Your Country, Team Normal, love that one. A Cup of No Joe, and Not Woke. We're giving you a big break on the price you buy all four. You can buy them separately, okay? So I have a big political memorabilia collection. Those four are in my collection. You know, each news cycle is different. Each election cycle is different. So we got Confronting the President's already breaking out. The people who have read the galleys, that's the advance, they go out there to the press and things like that. So we're going to have about 50,000 advance sale just on my website alone. Colossal. So order, pre-order, you get it first. And word of the day, not be a barber monger. Barber, B-A-R-B-E-R, monger, M-O-N-G-E-R. Sounds bad, but you should know what it means. Back with Jon Stewart and O'Reilly Redo. You work hard to support yourself and your family, but it may seem like you never take that next financial step forward. If the bills are higher than what you bring in, a credit card might be what's making up the difference for you. The problem is the debt keeps on growing. Well, if you own a home, my friends at American Financing can help you break that cycle. American Financing saves people like you an average of $854 a month. Even better, it costs nothing to find out how much you can save. And if you call American Financing today, you might be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So start your journey towards being credit card debt-free. Please call 888-462-9557, 888-462-9557, or visit AmericanFinancing.net. Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world reserve currency. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Okay, final thought of the day. Jon Stewart was nice enough to invite me on the Daily Show this evening, and I will be doing his podcast tomorrow. Stick with BillO'Reilly.com if you can't watch it in person. We will have all the highlights of it. So I wanted to bring you back to October 6th, 2012, when Obama was running against Romney. We did the rumble in the air-conditioned auditorium. Roll it.
What do you think is the most fundamental problem with the public political discourse?
Stewart.
Honestly, I think we've lost our ability to problem solve. That we're having the wrong conversation in this country. That the conversation we're having in this country is about a fundamental clash of civilizations, when I think we have basically agreed that we're a social democracy. Like, whether you want to get around it or not, this isn't a conversation between freedom and tyranny and capitalism and socialism. And until we lose that artifice and begin to concentrate on making, I think I want government.
By the way, I have no idea what you just said, but the problem with the discourse deal.
You went to Harvard, dude.
Is,
Stop
I know.
playing.
I had the same problem there. What?
All right, so we're going to have a good time, I hope. You know, you never know what you're walking into in these things. But Stewart, I respect. All right, he went way back to CNN firing line, and he was yelling at him, it had to be 15 years ago, about their hate speech and this, that, and the other things. So he's ahead of the curve on this. I don't know what he wants to talk to me about, but I assume it's that, because we have been really ahead of the story about these giant corporations paying for hatred. So it's nice to go back into that forum because it reaches now millions and millions of people on YouTube and the other social media. It just, it's at 11 p.m. Eastern, the Comedy Central program. And, a good number of people watch it. But then it goes, boom. And his podcast, I don't do many podcasts. I'll do some for promoting confronting the presidents. But that, again, teaming O'Reilly and Stewart up is big. That rumble in the auditorium, that crashed all the social media servers. At the time, it had more views, and now it's going to be, I think, I don't know if it'll be as big because that got a lot of publicity, but it's going to be substantial. So tomorrow, we'll report on it. I will write a message of the day. I got to go into the evil Gotham to go to his studio, and I'll take you through all of it. So that'll be posted tomorrow morning on BillO'Reilly.com, and then we'll do a segment tomorrow on it and the podcast. And we will have it on BillO'Reilly.com as well. So I appreciate Jon Stewart's invitation. It came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. And as you know, most of the left just won't book anybody they don't agree with. I mean, no one. Shut out completely. And that extends into the morning shows, Good Morning America, Today, Kelly, all of them. Kelly Ripa, who I like, but no, nobody. And that comes from the top. That comes from the executives who are running Disney and Comcast and the others. Thank you very much for watching the No Spin News. We have no corporate masters here. None. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.